Thank you all for being here. We're here today for a great day, a presentation and a recognition of what this community does to support the military here locally. So my name's Andy Merritt with the Colorado Springs Regional Business Alliance, and I'm just going to introduce a few of our dignitaries. We have way too many for me to touch on all of them, but I'll introduce a few of them for you, starting with Mayor John Suthers, County Commissioners Dennis Heisey and Peggy Littleton, City Councilman Don Knight, representing Senator Cory Gardner, Brandon Gould, representing the Association of Defense Communities, President Michael Cooper and Board Member Russ DeSalvo. Thank you guys both for coming out here. Representing our military bases, from the Air Force Academy, Colonel Olson from the 10th Mission Support Group, Colonel Joel Hamilton from Fort Carson, the Garrison Commander. From Peterson Air Force Base, Colonel Rich Birchfield, the IMA to the Commander of the 21st Space Wing. From Aft Space, Colonel Thompson, the IMA for Public Affairs. From NORAD Northcom, Colonel Mark Collins. From Schriever Air Force Base, Colonel Stephen Slade, the IMA to the 50th Space Wing Commander. Thank you all, especially our military folks, for being here today, because really you guys are what this is all about, and without you here, we wouldn't have a purpose for being here. So with that, I'm going to introduce, we're just going to have a few short speakers for you, and with the presentation of the flag for the Great American Defense Community. So with that, I'm going to introduce Keith Klain, the chairman of the MAC.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for joining us today. It was about 75 years ago that some community leaders came together and acquired some land south of town, made multiple trips to our nation's capital, and ultimately donated that land to the War Department for what would become Camp Carson. That effort put us on a path to becoming a community that proudly hosts multiple military bases that play a very key role in our nation's defense. More recently, in an endeavor to best support our men and women in uniform in these very challenging times, we've engaged with a great national level organization, the Association of Defense Communities, or ADC, represented here today by its president, Mr. Michael Cooper, and by ADC board member Russell DeSalvo, you've already met, from right here in Pueblo. Through the ADC, we've made new connections inside the Pentagon, learned new ideas from our peer communities around the country, and we have been reminded just how special our own community really is. That is why the leadership of the RBA and the MAC and the Peak Military Care Network came together to prepare a nomination for this, the inaugural Great American Defense Communities Award. We believe that our long history and broad array of community and support efforts, coordinated in some unique and impactful ways, would not only stand out, but would also serve as a model for other communities. As it turns out, we were right. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Mr. Michael Cooper, President of the Association of Defense Communities. Besides giving of his time to the ADC, he is Chairman of the Oklahoma Strategic Military Planning Commission and has spent decades supporting the military in Oklahoma. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining us.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Special guest, Mayor. Let me just first say it's always a great day to be in Colorado Springs. I just love Colorado Springs. Second, I want to say, before I get started, is thanks to Andy and Keith for inviting me here. It's also good to have one of our board members from the Association of Defense Communities here as well. But things like this just don't happen. Keith, thanks for your leadership in the Military Affairs Commission, and Andy, thanks for your leadership with the Regional Business Alliance. It takes leadership in communities, and I know, Mayor, you play a huge role in that, so we appreciate what you do as well. But again, as both Keith and Andy mentioned, I serve as president of the National Association of Defense Communities. That is a membership organization that represents nearly 300 communities, states, regions, and affiliated industry organizations representing every major defense community and state in the nation. Our mission is to build resilient communities that support our nation's military. We are the connection point for our members, the Department of Defense, and Congress. I'm happy to be here this afternoon to help celebrate Colorado Springs' selection as part of the inaugural class, the first city to be recognized, of the ADC Great American Defense Communities Program. This special program was launched in partnership with the House and Senate Defense Communities Caucus to acknowledge the unique contributions cities, counties, and regions that host military installations make to improve the quality of life for service members, veterans, and their families. This inaugural class of communities was selected by a panel of defense community advocates and escorts from dozens of nominees based on a broad range of efforts that they carry out on behalf of military personnel and their families, covering areas such as education, job opportunities, and community appreciation. Of the 10 communities selected, Colorado Springs it certainly stands out for a number of reasons, not just because I love Colorado Springs. Your Western heritage, your historical connection with the military, your wide variety and current missions and installations, and of course, the exceptional quality of life your community provides for the military family certainly tells a unique story. Our selection committee specifically was impressed with the great work, some of the things that you did, specifically with the Pikes Peak Military Care Network and your community's focus on military childhood education. So, on behalf of ADC, thank you for all you do for our service members and their families. Colorado Springs certainly serves an example for other defense communities across the country. Congratulations, and we appreciate all that you do. So, Mayor, you want to come up? What? Colorado Springs, the first community recognized.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Cooper. Now you wonder, see, we have this brotherhood among mayors, and I've determined that Mr. Cooper was the mayor of Enid, Oklahoma. So to me, he's always going to be Mayor Cooper. I'm honored to be accepting this recognition on behalf of the thousands of citizens in our community who give their time and resources to support the men and women serving in uniform. Colorado Springs is privileged to host 5 military installations that are integral to keeping all Americans safe. Their reach extends around the globe, and there are service members who live in our community and are deployed on at least 5 continents. We as a community strive to remember and honor their sacrifices each and every day. With this recognition by the Association of Defense Communities, we hope that we can continue to motivate our citizens to assist our military personnel and hopefully can serve as a model for other communities. Because no matter where a service member is stationed, we want them to receive all the support they deserve. And we as a community in Colorado Springs will continue to do our part to make sure that happens. Thank you very much. It is such an honor to receive this because we have these folks here in uniform that make us appreciate everything they do for us. They help us understand better that freedom is not free, and only those that pay the price deserve to have freedom. So it is our honor to serve them and to do everything we can for those in uniform and the families that are left here behind. So thank you.
Tom, as you know, we have an incredible array of local organizations that serve our military community. And we just have to make sure that those organizations continue to have the leadership that they've had in the past, and they continue to garner the volunteer base, from everything from home front cares to just an incredible array of organizations that assist our military folks on all levels in continuing education, support for
families left behind during deployments, making sure that our military personnel feel comfortable in our community and feel welcome in our community. We've had a tremendous history of that. I think this recognition is frankly well-deserved. And we just got to make sure that we always have the leadership to continue that. And given the fact that an incredibly high percentage of people who serve in the military in Colorado Springs remain in the community, I'm confident that we're always going to have that kind of support for this endeavor to make sure that our military folks feel welcome and feel appreciated. Well, you know me well enough that I take advantage of every award. Over the last month, we've been talking about kind of our triple header here. As you know, we were named by U.S. News and World Report as one of the 5 best cities in America to live in. I like to point out that U.S. News and World Report is pretty good at the ratings business. We feel a lot better about that than being rated the best city for singles to find love last year. We also were ranked by TripAdvisor as having one of the top 10 downtown areas in the country, and I think this Military Communities Award is just another reflection of the fact that there's a lot of great things going on in Colorado Springs, and given that the military is such an integral part of our community, you've heard me talk about before, they're almost a half of our economy. About 33% of the economy is direct military payroll, about 70% is defense contracting related. This is an incredibly integral part of our community, and if we're doing something wrong if we're not among those communities getting recognized for our support of the military, because they are so very, very important to us. When we unleash these folks on the Pentagon every year, and trust me, we do, we talk about the fact that our community embraces the military. And trust me, when they talk about the relationships of the community to military bases, they pay attention to things like this. We feel very good about the critical nature of the commands that we have here, the critical missions that are carried out here, and we're going to continue to advocate for the military installations here, and I think we're going to fare just fine.